Hello, can you hear my voice?
Yes, doctor. We are able to hear you.
Okay. And even the video is fine, isn't it? You can.
Absolutely fine. Yeah,
Okay.
all well. All well. Thank you. We'll just wait for a couple of more minutes.
I think we'll start at 4 anyhow.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
sure. Mr. Jaishankar, can we start or should we give a couple of more minutes?
I think we can start, Saraswati. There we have more than 40 people
Yeah,
already logged in.
yeah, there are
I
more than
think,
100 registrations. So I thought we'll wait till 50%
okay,
reach.
we can wait for a
No,
few
no, no,
minutes.
it's okay. We can join. I mean, we can start. People can join. They are just joining. So, good evening, everyone. This is Saraswati, Secretary General, Madras Chamber of Commerce, and it's a pleasure that to have you all here for this interesting and very timely topic, I would say, on gut health. And thanks, Dr. Somit Kumar from AVP to join here today and address us. This is the Chamber's Healthcare Committee's program, and we have been organizing on a number of subjects on cancer awareness, on kidney health and mental health, and many of those. And in that series, today we have this session on gut health. They say always the gut and mind are connected, and gut is a second brain, which also produces a lot of hormones. And today, with all the kind of lifestyle changes, things like that, this subject has become very, very important. And thanks for everyone who have joined here today. Without further ado, I will request Mr. P.V. Jaishankar, Chairman of our Healthcare Committee, to say a few words and then also introduce Dr. Somit Kumar. But one request to all of you, please keep your audio, video on mute for better reception at every end. Thank you. Thanks for your cooperation. Over to you, Mr. P.V. Jaishankar.
Thank you, Saraswati, for the welcome. And it's indeed a pleasure for me on behalf of the Healthcare Committee of the Madras Chamber of Commerce to welcome all the participants and especially Dr. Somit Kumar to this innovative session. As Saraswati said, we have been organizing a lot of events on variety of subjects, but this is our first initiative in the area of traditional health. Traditional health has been seeing so much of initiative and progress over the last few years, especially under the new government. And there are Ayush centers and Ayush colleges being established in virtually every state in the country. And there's also a national integrative health policy. There's an integrative health university in Bangalore. So a lot of initiatives are happening in the area of traditional health. And better to kind of talk of that is the director of research of one of India's foremost institutes in this area, AV Pharmacy, Ayurveda Pharmacy, Coimbatore. I think if some of you visit the pharmacy, visit the hospital in near Palakkad, will be truly amazed. You know, the sort of modern manufacturing practices they follow, the research practices they follow. I mean, there's a lot of misconception that Ayurvedic institutions don't follow many of the quote unquote good practices followed by allopathic manufacturers. But I think that's a lot of falsehood to that. People like AVP are in the forefront of doing such research, such manufacturing practices. I mean, I even learned that they are doing a genome database in the area of rheumatoid arthritis, and Dr. Somit, I'm sure, will touch upon that. So, just to introduce Dr. Somit, he's an MD in Ayurveda and doctorate, and he's a director of research at AVP Research Foundation. He's also the CVO of AVP Baltics, a European venture of AVP India. He works with many universities like the University of Latvia, University of Milan, Stanley Medical College, PhD Medical College, and a lot of projects which are funded by Ayush of Government of India. Some of his areas can be seen on the screen there. Apart from doing research, I think Dr. Somit has been an active clinician, and he specializes in Kerala-based Panchakarma techniques across a wide variety of uh, disorders which are listed. And I myself am a patient of Ayurveda pharmacy, and I can testify to the sort of practices they follow there. He's not just India based. If as I said, he's spent a lot of his time in Eastern Europe and in the Baltics. And he's also a core faculty member of training and conducts regular Ayurveda courses in many countries like Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Japan, and Switzerland, apart from Latvia. So, really a man of wide interest, a man of wide knowledge, and a man of wide clinical practice. It's my pleasure to Just before I introduce Dr. Somit, I'd also like to add that on 26th of this month, we are having a program on the use and applications of artificial intelligence in the specific area of oncology. So yeah, you will get the invitations for that very shortly. So over to Dr. Somit. You're welcome, Dr. Somit. We look forward to a very, very interesting talk by you. Thank you, sir. Yeah, Jaya, you can remove the slide. Yeah.
Yes, so namaste to all, and especially Jai Shankar ji for having taken this initiative today and inviting our institution to, share some thoughts over this very interesting topic, though it's not unknown for, Indian thought process. But of course, with advancement in new era of genomics, pharmacogenomics, especially where we are talking about personalized medicine, the topic of gut and its implication on our human health has become more and more very important. Hope my sound is clear. Everybody is able to hear it?
Yes, doctor. It's clear.
Yes, we are able to hear, but I did see a comment from someone saying that the voice is breaking. But on the whole, it's okay, doctor. Please go on.
Okay. So we all know that Ayurveda is an ancient system of medicine, but what I say, it's not an ancient, though it may be ancient in practice, but it is very contemporary in its overall structure and epistemology. And why I say that? Because in the basic first primary books of Ayurveda, whether it is Ashtanga Hridayam or it is any text like Charaka or Shushuta, they have talked about that what is the basic cause of disease. And one of the prime assumption of the pathogenesis of disease, or what is the primary criteria of you being healthy or unhealthy, Agni plays a major role. Now, Agni means digestive fire, very loosely translated. I know one of my teacher, Venu Gopalan sir, is there in the this August gathering, and he was my teacher who taught me about how to interpret the right meaning of each Sanskrit word. But then today I'm going to use more popular words which maybe just be known to you, but may not be exact translation. So similarly, Agni in Ayurveda or Jatar Agni has a very important, or metabolism is having a very important role in first preserving the health of the healthy. What we say is swasthasya swastha rakshanam. Now, why? Because we say Agni is the prime cause of health. Why? Because whatever we eat, not only what we eat through our oral passage, but also there are other different types of 13 types of Agni in our body. And apart from physical form of Agni, there are also many types of Agni which is told in our, spiritual literature, which is very important for any transformation. Here, Agni basically denotes the process of transformation. So if you want to stay healthy or prevent disease, you have to maintain a proper digestive fire. And one of the three pillars in Ayurveda is called Nidra, Ahar, Brahmacharya. Now, if we talk about first two pillars of health, first is Nidra. The sleep, the quality of sleep, as well as the quantity of sleep. We, as a student, when we are learning about a very unique chapter called Prameha. Prameha means when you have frequent urination. So we know all today that one of the major symptom of diabetes or type 2 diabetes in particular is frequent urination. And in our Ayurvedic text, long before this kind of definition has been told, and when we say prabhut avila mutratva, when you have excessive urination as well as urine with certain turbidity, this is a state of prameha. Now, one of the cause of prameha has been told as divaswapnam. That means when you sleep during the day. We all talk about today, a short nap during the day is good, of course. But then what Ayurveda text has to say, if you are bala, when you are a child below 6 years, if you are vriddha, a person more than 60 years, sleeping during the day is okay, advisable, fine. But then you have to, if you are not within this age range, what you should do? It's told that if at all you want to sleep, you sleep during the summer season. And if you are sleeping, you should not lie flat on the bed, but in an easy chair. If you remember, in our olden days, our grandfather and our ancestors used to, lie down on an easy chair, which is half reclined. Now, why this is important? That it has an impact on your carbohydrate metabolism and metabolism. Why? Because it was very interestingly found out in a study done in 2011, where they did a very big survey in UK women population, and they found that the women who were sleeping during the day, they had higher insulin resistance and higher predisposition to type 2 diabetes. Similarly, they also found that people who are working in the call centers or people who don't have a proper night sleep of 6 to 8 hours, not any time 6 to 8 hours, but a proper between 10 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock. If people are sleeping between 6 to 8 hours, they have lower predominance or predisposition to type 2 diabetes. And people who are having irregular sleep, that means less than 6 hours or more than 8 hours, also people who sleep, they are more prone to diabetes. Now, why I'm trying to tell where the gut comes with the sleep. It was quite interesting to see also that it also showed that it impacts your carbohydrate metabolism. That means your liver function, your pancreatic function, the function of your muscle utilization. So as simple as not sleeping 6 hours and not sleeping during the right time, that be between 10 to 6 o'clock in the morning, it can create diabetes, and you are more prone to diabetes. You see, I know today almost more than 30% of population are known diabetic in India, more than 30%. Alarming. Why? Because it's not that just we are eating carbs, but we have come to a lifestyle which is not conducive for our gut health. Now, this is where I'm going to share my slides today about how to have a healthy life with a proper gut health. Now, whether there is a association of sleep with your gut, yes, there are association. Whether there is association of what you eat, when you eat, is it associated with your gut health? Yes, it has. Whether there is an impact of season on your gut, the answer is yes, there is. And it was quite interesting that all this relationship was very effectively documented in our Ayurvedic classical text under simple chapters in the first 3 chapters of Ayurveda tests, that is Dinacharya and Ritucharya. How to program your day, how to program your season, that how should you prepare for a particular seasonal regime, how to plan your activities during the day. All this thing impacts your gut health. I start with this particular slide. You might be seeing a slide of a globe. What is unique about this? What is unique about this slide is, if you see all the blue spaces, all the blue marked places, they are the site where one of the most ancient civilizations grew or thrived, whether it is Indus Valley civilization, whether it is Mesopotamian civilization, whether it is Egyptian civilization, or whether it was not Chinese civilization. All these civilization which grew or were basic cause for the most organized method of living, most organized and scientific method of their living and knowledge system which thrived that time, happened very quite interesting across the equator, either north of equator, between tropic and tropic of Capricorn. Now, why? The first chapter of Ayurvedic text talks about Sadharan Bhuvim. That Sadharanam Sammalam. That means if you live in a region of the earth where there is almost equal hours of sunlight and darkness, that means you have 12 hours of, on an average, 12 hours of light and on an average 12 hours of darkness. If you look at, those are Sadharan Bhumi because they have lot of moderate climate, moderate vegetation, a very good diversity in terms of crops, a climate which is very conducive. Now, I take an example. You go to Norway, you go to Stockholm, or you go to Denmark, you go to Finland. Are they the best place to live? As per Ayurveda, no. And I joke sometimes, they pay you the most because they know those are not the best place to stay healthy. Why? Because the climate itself creates the process of disease. And one of the most important system which gets impacted by climatic regime is your nervous system, your hormonal system, and your gut. And that's why they suffer from a very unique disease called a seasonal attenuated disorders, SAD. They are always sad. Why? Because for 6 months they may have a lot of light, and for 6 months they have a lot of dryness, darkness, which is not conducive for a proper human being's physiological impact. And that's why Ayurvedic text talks about, very uniquely, that if you want to stay healthy, you should inhabitate in a region where is there Sadharana Bhumi. Sadharanam, Sammalam here. Sammalam, that doesn't mean waste product. Here, Mala is denoting all the 3 doshas. That means all the 3 doshas, all the homeostasis of your body can be proper if you remain inhabitant. And by that law, we are very, blessed that we are all born in India. And this is the society which had highest level of intellectual outcomes, the best kind of practices of healthy life, which we today, at that point of time, not today, but at that point of time, we were called as Vishwaguru. And I also believe now we are Vishwagurus because we gave all this basic thought process of healthy living, incorporating the principles from the universe and the human body, the relationship between the human. And in fact, the first evidence of impact of sunlight, impact of temperature on your body, human body, was made by Ayurveda. It was now only in 2017 people talked about circadian rhythm, and then they got the Nobel Prize of Medicine that, oh, intensity of sunlight regulates your melatonin, serotonin, and then I will show you that research. But in fact, in Indian classical literature, this was already documented as part of the Ayurvedic uh, concept of circadian rhythm of Dinacharya. And not only that, what is Sampanna Bhumi? What are the qualities of good Bhumi to get the right kind of nutrition? Now, another important criteria for inhabitation was Shad Ritu, where almost 6 seasons express naturally. Now, why you need this diversity? Because when you have all the 6 seasons manifesting itself, you have so much of diverse food, grains, different types of herbs with different types of phytochemicals, because based on the environmental temperature, based on the environmental heat, light, different moisture, different biophysical characteristics, the plant has different kind of phytochemicals which are both nutritive as well as also proactively medicative in nature. They also have medicinal properties, and that's why India is said to be as a storehouse of maximum biodiversity of medicinal plants. We have almost 6,000, more than 6,000 varieties of medicinal plants which have different therapeutic properties because of the mere expression of different kinds of climate. So that's why we are so blessed to stay or be born in India. But then, why are we not living the longest? Why are we not living the healthiest? We will know the answer. Today, I want to first start this whole discussion we were talking about, our compare also talked about, she was talking about gut-brain axis. Yes, there is a very deep relationship between what you aharo hi deha sambhavaha. What you eat is what you are. And not only ahara, your sharira, but also its sukshma bhava, its subtle form also impacts the mind. And the Bhagavad Gita was one of the first texts. In fact, Bhagavad Gita is not a adhyatmic text at all. It's not a religious text. It's not a text based on your faith, but it's based on the science and human psyche. Is expounded there. And it talks about that a food is of 3 kinds. It's sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic. This is one of the first very strong evidence in our civilization which talked about that food can impact your emotions. You can have a sattvic blend of psychological phenotype. You can have a tamasic, or you can have a rajasic. And not only gut microbiome guides your emotion, but also the food what we take, they impact your gut, of course. Diseases like Parkinsonism, there is a lot of now work coming out that one of the earliest symptom of Parkinsonism is constipation. Why? Because certain gut microbiomes get altered because of our faulty diet and lifestyle. What? Because today we are not so much worried about eating, uttapam or dosa. We are rather so much interested in pizza, burger, and other kind of forms of food, which is not known to a South Indian gene. Today, we don't respect our local food. We don't respect our local variety of, when we say we should be local for vocal for local, we see that it is a more, political, stunt rather than a scientific stunt. In fact, there's a lot of science about being vocal for local. Why? Because it's talking about individualization, personalization of your diet and based on your genes. If a South Indian does not eat their local fermented food, we talk about good bacteria. We are ready to buy all the prebiotic or probiotic pills, but we are not ready to properly prepare, dosa, idli, or even more, which is already existing in our probiotic, one of the best food which can promote this probiotic bacteria, and when we are looking for supplementation. Now you'll say, we are also eating all dosa idli and all, but still why we are deficient in certain probiotic bacteria? Because we are not using the kind of unprocessed rice which we used to use. Today we are using most of these rice which are processed, which is devoid of essential fiber and microbial, ecosystem in this rice. Kaikutalarsi. How many of us are making now dosa idli from kaikutalarsi? No, none of us, maybe, because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look white. But nutritively, in terms of gut diversity, these ingredients of our traditional recipes are also not following the way it should be. When them was added in past with to add that fiber and that the kind of gut microbiome which will kind of nullify the ill effect of the urund. But we failed to do that because we thought that all those practices may be just because my grandmother used to do it, doesn't have science. It is a big science behind it. Then happiness. Your gut can decide your mood, your state of happiness or feeling sad. Because if you just, I don't know, many of you would have felt that you had a great party Saturday night, you had a great party, you had good food, you had good drink, you had a nice dance, you enjoyed then. Fine, gave you happiness that time momentarily. But the next day morning, how do you feel? Horrible, isn't it? Your Sunday is all spent in just digesting your previous night food, not feeling so great. Why? Because at some point of time, in your moment of enjoying indulgence, somewhere did not give you long-term happiness. I don't say people don't have to enjoy, but you enjoy with certain moderation and enjoy with the science behind it. Eat right things at right time. You would still keep enjoying. You don't feel very miserable after that. Then your coping of stress, the gut microbes also regulates how you can manage your stress. Today, a small criticism, a small uh, observation for or against us makes us extremely upset or extremely overtly feel elated. There are extreme emotions these days. Why? Because somehow we are not able to manage our gut properly. It has an impact on that. Social interactions. See, Ayurveda was one of the first science we talks about that samadosha samagnischa samadhatu malakriyaha prasanna atmendriya manaha swasthamiti diyate. So a person cannot stay in the state of happiness, health, and balance unless and until it is spiritually happy. And when you are spiritually happy, that means you are also in a society, in an ecosystem around you. So you bring happiness to the society and the society brings happiness to you. So you cannot experience health in isolation. If that was the correct, then we all would have been in one island. Hardly 10 people in the whole world, and we would have been one person in one island. How great our life would be. If I tell you just go for 20 days in a dark room, just sit inside, would you feel healthy? No, may not be, because we human are a social being. So our social interaction norms are also impacted, influenced by our gut. Exercise. If we So excessive exercise also impacts your metabolism, and even there are diseases that when to do the exercise for a good metabolism. See, many of times we eat a lot of food and then we start running because it will digest the food. It is exactly cause of rheumatoid arthritis or arthritis, according to Ayurveda. Snigdham bhuktvato hi annam vyayamam kurvatastata. After taking heavy food, you start doing vyayamam. You will get joint pain, amavata. So there was very strong recommendations given in our books as to what to do when in relationship to food. in relationship to when to do exercise. And then, of course, environmental form, pollution impacts your gut, and mode of delivery. This is one of the major cause that young children are having so much of attention deficit disorder, developmental disorder, low immunity. You know why? Because of mode of delivery. Today, it has become a norm. Previously, people used to feel that normal is normal delivery. But today, the norm is cesarean delivery, cesarean section. If you have a normal delivery, then it's out of norm. Why? Because a normal delivery allows the child to go through the vaginal passage, which has a good bacterial colony, which allows the child to take those bacteria into their gut and allow it to live longer. So there is enough research done that people who are born through normal delivery, not cesarean section, they have longer lifespan, they have better IQ, they have better digestion. But unfortunately today, most of our women either want to select the time of the birth of the child, or they don't want to undergo the labor pain, because of course it is a painful process. I don't disagree with that, but it is very important for the child's health and longevity and their even immunity and development. Then food, what we eat, and also genetics. Of course, genetics is very important. We all talk about, Ayurveda talks about Vata, Pitta, Kapha, body type, Prakriti. But let's understand how many of us are really aware as to how to assess our today. You must all have, I think, have now heard about Prakriti Parikshan, because Prime Minister of India started just after election. His first abhiyan which he started, or first campaign he started in Ayush is Desh Ka Prakriti Parikshan. We are trying to achieve 4 crore Indians Prakriti analysis we will do. And all the major Ayurveda colleges, institutions, researchers, all of them are now trying to achieve the target that at least 4 crore Indians should be profiled for their Prakriti. Now, why? Because it's a science. Now, Prakriti talks to you about. So not only Prakriti, there are other 10 other factors which, decides your health. That is, one is your body type, whether you're Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. Then, based on your diet and lifestyle, what kind of imbalances you have. Then, we all have vulnerable organ, weak organ, and what are healthy organs too. So there is also method of analyzing which organs are healthy in us. So we say dhatu. The dhatu makes as angas, srotas and angas. So which organs are weaker in us and which are not weaker. So there are a lot of, now when I talk to you like this, we also get alarmed. Oh, probably even genomics talks about it, that okay, through your genetic test, now we can know that you will have this organ having a little bit of mutation or this stress in particular part of the codons of your genes. So in fact, this knowledge was very easily obtained from Ayurvedic texts, where we talked about which organ you inherited from father genes, which organ you check from mother genes. In fact, according to Ayurveda, medas, or the fat, is inherited from a mother. And according to Ayurveda, diabetes is a medasa, pradushta medas. When medas or the fat metabolism is not proper, now you'll say carbohydrate is the culprit, sugar is the culprit. But the organ of sugar metabolism, pancreas, when it gets destroyed or in kind of damage, then only you have impaired carbohydrate metabolism. The problem is not sugar in diabetes, it's inflammation of certain organs, and that is fatty metabolism gets impaired. And then you see, you inherit from mother. Now, according to modern research also, we say that diabetes is mostly expressed in those children whose mother had diabetes or mother side had diabetes. So it's almost the same information which we have in Ayurvedic text. There's so many such genetic informations told. Then age. Certain diseases come with age. Like we have age onset disease. Some people become diabetic only after a certain age. Then physical strength. If you don't have good physical strength, people who are obese, we see that they are very strength. They have a lot of strength. No, they are not so strong. They can't, just after walking for a few steps, they start panting. That shows that their physical ability is very low. Then digestive fire, the metabolism, then the country they live, their local diet and lifestyle and adaptability. This is very important for your gut health. Unfortunately, with our globalization, we have been becoming less and less localized. I don't say globalization should not happen, but we should be intelligent enough to be global in outlook. But at the same time, when we talk about diet preferences, we should try to be local. Why? This is for our selfish reasons also. If we want to stay healthy, if you don't adhere to your total local diet and lifestyle practices, you cannot, enjoy the fruits and benefits of globalization. You can be globalized in terms of your professional outlook, relationships, foreign policy, and everything. But at the same time, you need to be very clear about your health. And if you don't weave about that ecosystem based on your local environment, you will soon be getting into a very kind of frightful situation which India is going to be in. India is going to be, or rather has become, diabetic capital. Why? The cause is very simple. That when the affluence, when we are becoming a developing to develop economy at some point of time, we will also inherit this lifestyle diseases because we are not staying rooted into our traditional practices. Because we say something, if I have to modernize, I have to shun off everything which is archaic and traditional. No, it cannot be. So our whole concept of, seasonal eating, our samhar was not the same every season. Our rasam was not the same every season. What we ate was not the same recipes in each season. Why we had so many uh, different festivals? Why we had different recipes for different festivals? Because it talked about that diversity. It talked about the specificity of those festival and the recipes cooked in that particular festival to denote that this is the season and this is the food which is grown at this time, or the grains are available this time. Take that and you can stay healthy in tandem with the whole world or the universe. Then that is the kind of well-being which we are looking at. If you do this, then your mind and your body would be free of disease. But today, we know that more than 80% of diseases are lifestyle and diet issues, stress induced, because we are somehow not following these precepts of Ayurveda. Now, how many of us try to look into food, that whether food is hot or cold? Why we have, I don't know, how many of us thought that why South Indian biryani is more spicy than North Indian Kashmiri pulao? If you just try to, if somebody of you have taken Kashmiri with pulao, it must be filled with a lot of sweet dry fruits, nuts, which is very sweet. But at the same time, you go to a biryani which is given in south of India, you see it's so spicy. Why? Because there is a very important concept of, when you see a fridge, when you go near a fridge and you feel the temperature outside the fridge, behind the fridge, what it will be? It will be hot. But what is the temperature inside the fridge? It is cold. When you live in south of India, which is generally a hot temperature, surrounding is hot, climate is hot, your core body temperature, your core, your intestine will become cool by nature. And that's why you'll need more spice, more hot spice. If you look at across the world, you go to more towards the poles, they eat less spice. More you go to Mexico, go to Canada, less spice. But the more to Mexico, spicy food. Thai food, spicy food. Why? Because the climate impacts your metabolism. So if a talpakam biryani is spicy of an X extent and a star biryani is spicy of Y, extent, is because of their variations happen of the spices based on where it was popularized initially, where it was used, who used, what kind of climate it was. Lot of thought process, and that's why they talked about what kind of five element, whether the elements of that spice, that ingredients was according to the season or not. So in the hot season, you need to eat more or less? Answer is less. Why? Because when the atmosphere is hot, your core body temperature, digestion will be low. But what we do? Opposite. We eat biryani also in summer. We eat biryani also in winter. Now, you need to understand that there are specific, all the vegetables. Now, I stay in Coimbatore. I think in Uti, we have a partially winter temperature where all the winter fruits and vegetables are grown. So we get across the year. But then, unfortunately, we do know that many of our children or us, we suffer from a lot of problems when you eat unseasonal fruit. You eat a summer fruit in winter and a winter fruit in summer, you are bound to create a imbalance in your body. Why? Because the thought process of this, what five elements is constituting in that fruit or vegetable is not there, whether it is hot, cold, heavy. Now, most of us, when we say, oh, we should have a very nice breakfast like a king. Yes. So what today from West we know, if you take muesli and some yogurt and then add banana, is one of the best. Of course, it is best for their climate, their condition, but we get allergic line. Most of our children will have cough, cold, fever every day. And what we are giving, they're so advanced, so nice that we are giving some yogurt with muesli, with banana. Now, what time you are giving in a breakfast time? It is before 8 o'clock, the child goes to the school. And that is the kapha time. And you give all this heavy food, which is rich in fire, earth element and water element, and you get all this kind of allergic results. Why? Because, and you ask your ancestor, did they give tair vada in the morning? Did tair vada was taken ever in morning? No, it was always, if at all taken, it should be taken during the lunchtime. So the whole concept of food is changing in India because with more affluence, we feel that we can buy anything and everything in the world. But it was quite interesting to know, I was working when in east of Europe, that what they found out, the prevalence of obesity, prevalence of diabetes, prevalence of cancer and heart diseases increased after they were freed from USSR, when they were made from Soviet Union, when it disintegrated and they came to Europe, all this disease increased. Why? I asked why this happened. The doctors told that answer is very simple. As long as they were in USSR, they were not allowed to import all the Western food products. They used to eat less, but they were eating local, what was available, and they were farming. And the moment they were allowed access to all these Western diet, this is the situation. Now, this is where we are also into it. I'm not saying that we should not enjoy, we should not indulge, not celebrate our affluence, but do it with a little bit of intelligence. Understand that you can eat the best local food in the best restaurant of the world, but with a thought of all these characters. How many of us we think about Shadrasas? See, if you look at each and every meal, the thali, the South Indian meal, you see there is a representative where there is a little bit of payasam, which is predominantly sweet. There is also urga, which is a predominance of sweet, sour, spicy nature. You have a sambar, which has all representation of 5, 6 taste. You have more, which is representation of sour, astringent taste. Now, why? We were not worried about counting calories or protein carbs. No, if you eventually take all these different 6 tastes, you take all the phytonutrients, all different kinds of plant nutrients come to your gut, which will give rise to good bacterial flora, and you will have a good immunity and a good metabolism. See, we all are busy in taking best quality pizza, burger, and pastas, risottos, but are we getting a better health? The question is no. We are not getting, because these recipes may be fine in terms of their country of origin and their people, but it's not Satmia. So I was talking about that people should take something which is Satmia, ethnically adaptable to you, and that is the best food for your good microbiome. And the selection of fruit should be based on different principles, and Ayurveda talks about exactly this, that in which season you should eat more sweet, sour, salty, oily, and hot food, that is in winter season. In spring season, which we now are, see, when you say kottavaranga or this more this kolamba, kar kolamba with those mad takkali thing and all, has to be taken in Vasant Ritu more, because that is where you take bitter, astringent, dry, hot food and pungent food. But when it is summer, then you have to take very simple, easily digestible, oily, little food which is not very heaty, and then sweet. Then Varsha Ritu, you should take then again a lot of sweet, sour, salty, oily food. Then in autumn, when you have a lot of pitta, lot of heat. In autumn season, there's a lot of heat. So you should take bitter, sweet, astringent, dry, and cold food. Now, you may sometimes not understand all these things, but if you really are observing this nature, you will eventually follow. And the simple rule to understanding how to eat according to this rule is eat seasonal. What is the season? So many of us don't know what vegetable and fruit are produced in each season. If you just be observing that, go on internet, learn what is the natural season of each fruit, vegetable, and grains, you will get an answer. And if grains, always, if you want to be healthy, use 1-year-old rice. Even if you say ponni rice or any rice or grains or cereals, try to buy a year old. Why? By that time, the glycemic index of the cereals become or grains become low, and you will not have these metabolic issues. Now, looking at this chart is the basic principles of your dinacharya. When to eat what and how much. This is very important for us to understand that if you see the red line is peaking around 11 to 12, and after 12 it goes down. That means your power to digest complex food peaks around midday. So that's why according to Indian tradition, it was 2-meal theory. The biggest meal should be around 11, should be the best meal, with your sambar, koot, poriyal, buttermilk, tair, whatever you want to take. It should be one of the biggest meal of your day, or brunch. Or if you want to see, the whole concept of 3-meal theory in India came because of Britishers. Because Britishers, they stayed in a colder country. So they used to have, when it is cold, it will have more digestive fire. By naturally, you'll feel more hungry and you need more food. So they had breakfast, they had lunch, and they had dinner. But in India, we talked out, because we are hotter country, so our amount of food, number of times of eating food is limited. You can't digest the way a Russian or a Scandinavian can digest. So we need to be very careful. That's why we are getting a lot of problems with the cardiac disease now, obesity, diabetes, because we are eating probably more than what we require, or we are not eating the right thing according to our genes. So the heaviest food should be before your noon or around noon. After that, you can eat your break, very light fruits around 3 o'clock, and very light dinner. Today, I ask my patient, what food you take in the night? They say, I take very light tiffin. Now, what does tiffin means? Means you eat idli, you eat dosa, you eat, upma. In fact, this is not light food. I'm very sorry to say, because it is very high calorie. They all are cereals. All are cereals which you get a lot of calories, and you say, I eat tiffin, still my sugar level is high, because you took all these things which has high glycemic index. The low glycemic index things is like pirkingai, patolangai, pusnikai, surakai. So if you take more koot and poriyal in the night with or soup with one fresh chapati, or one ragi dosa or kamba dosa or samay arsi dosa. If you like that, if you take, then you are doing the right thing. After sunset or during the sunset, if you are eating, you should be very light in eating. Why? Because if you see night, our physical repair starts at 10 o'clock. And that is the time where you have to go to bed. If you don't sleep by 10 to 11, you end up not having good physical repair. And from night 2 o'clock to morning 6 o'clock is your psychological repair. That means if you properly sleep between 10 to 6 in the morning, that is 8 hours sleep, you can get up refreshed. If you have a light dinner, sleep at 10, I think you will be the most healthiest and happiest. Please take this as a first advice and do it for 1 week. You will see the difference yourself. That light dinner, more fiber rich dinner, your gut will digest it properly, because see, there's no peaking of red line in the evening. All what you have digested in the morning, it is utilized for physical repair and psychological repair. And if you are awake, you are dancing, partying, what will happen? You will misutilize, you will not repair your bodies. That's why you feel waking up after a Saturday night kind of party on Sunday, you feel miserable. Why? Because you are not planning your food according to the circadian rhythm. So now I'm coming to the slide where it shows that what was the Nobel Prize of Medicine in 2017. It said very simple things, that if you wake up before sunrise, that means when the day light slowly activates your suprachiasmatic nuclei, which maintains your sleep and awake cycle, your hormonal rhythms, your sympathetic response, and your feeding pattern. That means if you wake up on time, sleep on time, then meal on timing. If you eat food on time, then your hormones will be good. Today we talk about many people are suffering from thyroid, especially women. Thyroid problem is becoming more and more. Why? Because unfortunately they don't sleep early. First thing, I'll show why. Second, what they eat in the night is too heavy that you don't have enough energy to stimulate your thyroid stimulating hormone in the night. And fourth important thing is they eat everything what is not good for their intestine microbes, which can stimulate this organ, and then they get thyroid problem, obesity, diabetes, and this is a problem. Merely because they don't wake up and sleep on time, they don't have food on time, and social and family environment. Now, why? Because today we are so engrossed with so much of, we say dash with papani. We are more concerned about who is making more money rather than whether I am doing my job. We are more concerned about who is doing wrong to others rather than seeing that whether I am very thoughtful, God-fearing, or live in harmony. There are different methods which we transgress emotionally, verbally, kaya, vak, mano, deha, avyabhichara we do. So much of transgression of way we hurt people, way we hurt ourselves, in fact. So all these things have to be taken in account so that this physically impacts your hormones, your metabolism. So just see, when you are very angry, do you feel hungry? Some people will feel very hungry. Some people will feel not at all hungry at all. Depression, there are some type of depression which will give you more food longing, and some depression which will not make you feel eat food. Now, why? Because all the emotions, everything impacts so metabolism. This is a very important slide of this circadian rhythm research, where if you look at what should be eaten when. Now, if you look at the protein, peaks at around 1 o'clock. That means if you want to eat dal, you want to eat beans, you want to eat almonds, you want to eat nutrients, which is protein, milk products, everything, it should be done before noon. That means either in breakfast or lunch. Why? Because you can digest protein best before 1 o'clock. That is before the morning pitta time. The pitta time is very good. Why? Because it has fire element, the Agni, which digests food better. So if you want to eat most of your protein stuff, most of your high calorie stuff, all milk products, people who are non-vegetarian, eating meat and all, everything, please finish either in your lunch or breakfast. Don't take those things in the night. The moment, why? Because the protein metabolism becomes plateaued after 1 o'clock. If you eat your lunch after 1 o'clock, that is another problem. Everybody eats lunch around 3 o'clock. They end up only digesting the carbs. Proteins doesn't get digested better, and then the night they start getting acidity because they didn't eat right. You have to get onto the bus. You will go to the bus stop before the bus time or after the bus time. So you eat proteins after the protein metabolism is becoming low, you will not digest the protein. So acidity will happen. So proteins should be eaten either in breakfast or lunchtime. Fat, cholesterol metabolism, if you see at 6 o'clock, triglyceride and cholesterol, they peak. That means after that, they don't digest. But today, most of our food, which is either parota or kurma or by biryani, or our best food, is in the night. And fortunately or unfortunately, they don't digest the whole night. And that's why you feel bloated, gassy. And if you don't digest, you utilize your all energy in digesting it. Still, you can't digest. And then what happens? You don't have energy for your thyroid stimulation, your growth hormone, your lymphocytes, means all, and eosinophils. All of us now are talking about allergy. All are talking about hormonal imbalances. Why? Because we ate at the wrong time and we didn't sleep at the correct time. So that's why it doesn't balance our hormones. So this is very important for us to understand, that when to eat light and when to eat heavy. And when we say light, means light in digestion, not light in quantity. You can have one bucket of, nel puri. It is light too. Eating a nel puri in the night is fine. But if you start biryani in the night, it is heavy because it has higher calorie and lot of complex food. So we have to be careful. And another important thing is when to do exercise. Most of us, when we become health conscious, we wake up at 7 o'clock, get up at 8 by that, and then 8:30 we start doing exercise when we have the highest blood pressure and heart rate. Unfortunately, you must be hearing a lot of stories that people went to the gym and while doing gym, they had a cardiac attack. Why? That too in the morning they did, because they did the gym and exercise in the wrong time. Always when you say Surya Namaskara yoga, when it is done, Surya Namaskara means what? When the sun is rising. You have to do your exercise before 6 o'clock around sunrise time, not after sun has risen. After sun has risen, all the stress hormone, all the blood pressure, and everything is rising. So what will happen? You will end up, in fact, increasing your blood pressure while doing exercise. And sometimes if your body is not withstanding, then you may get some issues. So always when you are doing exercise, it has to be around sunrise. exercise. Then after that, you have to do pranayama and then your dhyana, so that all these stress hormones which are in the morning, angiotensin, aldosterone, renin, cortisol, test, all these are hormones which makes you prepare for fight and flight because it's morning. So you need to do yoga basically in the morning. But then if you want to lose weight, you want to reduce your diabetes level and all, best time is evening between 4 to 6 or before dinner. If you do exercise, is the best time you can improve your dose. Why? Because that time you have the best cardiac outcome. Means your heart can bear the stress maximum. If you look at the in evening, if you see around greatest cardiovascular muscle strength, if you see, it is in the evening. It is in the evening. And that's why most of our sports in our old days was done during the evening time. Krida was always done in the evening sports. Okay. So that's very important for us to understand when to do exercise. General rule, you need to eat half your capacity. Now you say why? Because even there is a very nice study done which called as calorie restriction intermittent fasting. When you restrict your calories to 60%, that means if you can eat 10 chapatis, 10 dosa, you eat only 6, then this will give you a longer life. Why? Because that creates a good anti-aging effect. Eat less, live long. It's not that eat more and live long. So why? It will correct your hormones, metabolic pathway, and you live longer. The study suggests that people live almost 4 years longer if they start this restricted feeding even after 45. Even after 45, you start restricting your calorie, you will live full year longer than what you were destined to. Now, next thing is why you should eat probiotic. Why dosa was there in our traditional diet? Why pickles, urgai was in our diet? Why more was in our diet? Because they had these bacteria and microbes in our body which used to impact our what? Not only our behavior. See, that's what I was telling you. In Sweden, when I was there for a long time, I used to face this gut issues of SAD, that is seasonal attenuated depression and diseases. I used to ask this patient as to what kind of food they are telling. These all people were migrant. And what happened was they were eating something which was, first of all, very continental, came from American pizza, burger and all, which didn't had any probiotic and traditional recipe thought. And they all suffer from these issues because they don't eat with that plan. First of all, they are rooted from their cultural land. And second, when they go there, they try to ape or be more evolved, and then they eat all the right things and they suffer from depression, mania, anxiety disorders, schizophrenia, all kinds of issues. Why? Because they have not eaten the right things. So eating the right kind of probiotic food. So eating dosa is important, eating idli is important, but in breakfast, that is our main meal where you to eat. When you take more or tair, it has to be in the lunchtime. Tair sadam in the night is not a good thing. Dadhi nishina bhunjayat has been told in our text. Said and done. Many people of us eat, but unfortunately, it will create diabetes. Definitely, because dadhi is one of the cause of prameha. If you don't eat dadhi or yogurt in the right time, curd in the right time, you would get this kind of disorders, fat issues, metabolism of diabetes issues, and all those things. Though it is a probiotic, but then the same dahi, same yogurt, so same you take into the lunchtime with proper side dishes, it is a good probiotic. It helps you to maintain your health and longevity and also your mood. So try to use all these things in the right. We are made so afraid of eating pickles. I'm sorry, the traditional method of pickle making, if you take in right quantity, not like you pickle and rice only you are eating, but in the right quantity and adequate amount, it gives you the right bacteria for your gut, which helps you to have a better immunity and longevity. And then it's important is combination of food. What should be combined with what? You know, the proteins takes longest time. If you eat protein in the night, you will take longer time to digest. And I told you there is no nothing which can, digest in the night, and you will get into issues, acidity and all those things. So many a times you are eating idli in the night, but you forget that there's also ulund and it is fermented. So it will be creating acidity in the night. It will increase your blood sugar in the night if you eat, though it is a tiffin. So you have to understand all these things. So you should know what thing to be added with and eaten when. And last part of my presentation is based on, am I talking in just something which I feel? So I have, with my team here, we have tried to kind of figure out, since we are doing also a research on gut microbiome on diabetics. So we are working where we are trying to see that whether Ayurvedic herbs are able to reduce the buildup of bad bacteria in the diabetic patient who are taking metformin. So, and you'll be surprised, it was not sponsored by Indian government. It is sponsored by Latvian government for the Latvian people who were intolerant to metformin. Many people, when they take metformin, they get diarrhea because they kill their good bacteria, and then they bad bacteria increase, and then they get diarrhea after taking metformin. So there we are doing a very interesting study of giving Ayurvedic herbs as simple as nellikai, then haridra, turmeric, pasupu, then kotamari, peppermint, all these which are simple, curry leaves, which is there as a part of your South Indian recipes. We have made a combination. We are trying to study as to if you add all these things to their, give as a supplement, what can improve. So it was very interesting to see when we are doing this that there are certain bacteria which are good bacteria and bad bacteria. Now, for example, one of the bacteria like bacteroids genus is there in our stomach. So we do many a times when the patient comes, so we do at here when we talk about personalized medicine. Now there are new techniques. That is where modern technology will help even to reestablish Ayurveda. And what I was astonished to see from the research already is published in the public domain is, if you have this bacteroids bacteria in less quantity, which is a good bacteria which should be in your body in specific quantity, if you have less bacteria of this bacteroids, you will have constipation, you have Crohn's disease, you have diabetic issues, you will have hypertension, you have joint problems, you have less tolerance to stress. And what herbs have been found to improve the bacteroids concentration in your body? Kurkuma, your pasupu, manjal, then lavangapatta, the cinnamon, black pepper, ginger, oregano, that is a orange foreign spice, clove, grambu, onion, then tandrika, nallikai, atimadhuram. All these herbs, which are part of our traditional diet and lifestyle, they tend to improve their concentration. So when you are talking about your traditional recipes, most of these traditional melagasam you used to eat, not in all season, in specific season, spring season, melagasam you have to take because that is the time where you require this bacteria to be having a better thing so that you can see that your proper um, metabolism happens, you have a better response to the stress. We all use ginger in our diet. Why? Because it improves the metabolism, relieves constipation, gut wellness improves. Now, there is another bacteria which is very important for our gut and it regulates many of the diseases. If biofida bacteria is less in your body, then it will create autoimmunity. Today, a lot of people are coming with autoimmune diseases, rheumatoid arthritis, autoimmune stress disorders like SLE, then some autoimmune disease, autoimmune issues. Why? Because somehow we are not eating some things like, many of us are not taking, uh, you know, uh, right kind of, quantity of sesame, nalla enna. Today, we all are so obsessed of eating all this palm oil because everybody is, investing a lot of work on, and sunflower oil and refined oil, safflower oil, which is good for heart. And we forgot sesame oil. Sesame is one of the most important, seed which has quality to improve this. Peppermint, mint, then ginger, acacia, Kerala, Karangali Vellam. See, in Kerala, there is a very important tradition of drinking Karangali Vellam. Karangali is an acacia species. This is put in water, and so red water, which you must be seeing. This is nothing but protecting them from these autoimmune disease, Crohn's disease, diabetes, IBS, liver issues, skin. Again, skin is already known. Karangali is a very good acacia khadira, we say, is very good for that. Now, for example, there is another, bacteria which is Blautia species. This is also found in Murungikire. We use Murungikire in our thing. Now, why? We all know Murungikire sapta or nalla calcium or vitamin D or deficiency kami agumadalla. But it also improves those bacteria which will improve the orthopedic wellness, your joints, your bones, your skin, sleep. Now, eating manjal, pasupu, is also impacting your sleep. If you take in right quantity, not that 3 teaspoons in the morning, because it is told that now turmeric is good, then you start taking 3. In our traditional diet, how much it has been told, like that you use, that is enough for that. So this is where what we are trying to tell you is these bacteria. So when you follow this traditional diet, lifestyle, your all these principles of Ayurveda, you end up having good quality of these bacteria which are good. And also there is also how it is maintained by simple spices and herbs which are part. Cumin. Cumin is very good for heart. Cumin means jeerakam. Jeerakam. Kottamari, whether coriander is very good because bacteria Clolinacella is one bacteria which is good for heart, importance, and cinnamon, then like lavangapatta, then kottamari, then chukku, then cumin, jeerakam. All these herbs and garlic, see, garlic is also increasing. We all know the garlic is good for heart, but also good for those bacteria which will be in the stomach, which will also create gut issue, will allow the gut bacteria to secrete all those good enzymes and chemicals which will protect the heart. So if you are a South Indian and you totally stop using your traditional diet and start mimicking Western diet, what will happen? All these spices will come out of your system, and then these kind of bacteria will come down, and then you will get all these diseases. Now, there are also things which are like lactobacilli. I was telling you there is another important bacteria which is lactobacilli, which is very good for your good memory, because cognitive wellness, immunity. What are those things which are improving? Nellikai, Tandrikai, then Muraya. This, your curry leaves. Curry leaves is one of the best for improving. Like that's why in our more you add curry leaves. Then mint, fenugreek. Fenugreek is also there. Vendam, it also improves that lactobacilli. So in fermentation of your dosa batter or idli batter, you add when them, because it will also create good lactobacilli, which will be good for your immunity as well as your brain wellness, cognitive wellness. Now, there are also things which are not so good bacteria, like bad bacteria, like you don't, if you have enterococcus bacteria so much, so it can create IBS. If you have so much of Pseudomonas bacteria, it will create respiratory issues. So you see, pomegranate, Madhulai, is one of the best fruit for reducing the Pseudomonas bacteria in your body and improving your respiration. So if you ask banana, kurklama for respiratory, no, pomegranate is one of the best because that will reduce those bacteria. And we all know that banana satta, chali, cough, cold, jasti dago. It will increase. So you'll have to understand that what is part of our traditional, or if at all you want to give padam, anthem padam, way which is apla. So you can, like, boil it and reduce that coldness in that and reduce that. So this is very important that you need to understand why our gut is important, because gut is not only important just to eat anything and digest anything. There has to be a proper programming of your food, which is, the rule is simple. It should be local food, it should be seasonal food, and also what you eat when to eat sambar, when to eat rasam, when to eat idli, when to eat dosa. You should have a planning. And if you follow this, obviously you will give the right kind of message to your gut. Good bacteria will grow, bad bacteria will come down. And then you can have a better immunological response. You will have a long life. You will have a good, uh, memory. You will have a better quality of life. So this is something which I wanted to share with you. I hope, I don't know how much clear I was in my message, but then I need to understand that. Hope I was able to share some of my thoughts, and now I can take some, questions if it is fine.
Excellent, doctor. That's a very, very nice presentation. I feel that we should have had it for at least minimum 2 hours plus or half a day. That would have been much better. I'm seeing a lot of questions there. Should I read out or would you like to take it yourself?
Yeah, I think I'll take my itself, Bimran.
Yeah.
Okay.
If
Request your inputs on the cause of acidity. So first, which is come from Ashok ji. See, I told you very clearly, cause of acidity is we don't eat right food at right time. If you eat even good food, we call as idli dosa in the night, which is fermented, it will create acidity. And if you eat food which is overcooked, today fast food culture is there. You don't exactly cook. See, a normal food is cooked for some time, longer time in a moderate flame, and that doesn't create acidity. Anything which is cooked in hurry, that creates acidity. And then you are eating like protein in the night, fatty food in the night, or too acidic food, which is not way prepared the way, it creates acidity. So that you have to. How about raw food? See, raw food is a new culture in our Indian thing. So as per Ayurveda, raw food is not the best way to stay healthy. Most of the vegetables has to be cooked. We all today are using pusnika or the juice saffron because somebody tells us to, it reduces weight and those and that. No, pusnika was always used as more kadumbu. Pusnika has to be kind of, cooked, put in the more kadumbu, and then it becomes a proper balanced food. So if you start eating vegetable as per your recipes which are told in your text, sorry, not text, told by your grandma, please follow your grandma in that. Even if you don't have grandma at home, at least remember what she used to tell you to give, eat, and all those things. So follow that. If at all you want to have salads and all, I would say during the lunchtime, or between the main meals. If you want to eat fruit and vegetables which are raw, you should eat between the main meals, between breakfast or lunch and dinner, like around 3 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the morning. So that is what rice and oil is the best to control sugar. Kai kutalarsi and unpolished red rice or brown rice is the best. Oil, please go and ask your ancestors what they use. In Tamil Nadu, if you are basically a Tamilian, Nalana, then groundnut oil, absolutely fine. No issues. What kind of diet do you advise during the daytime for sliding esophagus patient who have reflux problem of acidity and give us a lot of mouth ulcers and tongue arrest? Yes. So I think you should take, instead of sambar, more kind of parpu sadam, dal and parpu sadam with lot of pirkingai, patalangai, pusnikai, surakai, bendekai. These are alkaline food vegetables, and less fermented and spicy food. Of course, that will help you in reflux and acidity. Please give some information on gut-friendly food. I think your traditional food is always a gut-friendly food. Huh? If you eat tairi sadam in the night, it will definitely create acidity, though it is your traditional food. So that you have to be little concerned about it. I get a lot of arguments from my friends who are Tamil Brahmins that no, we are all eating from so many years. It doesn't happen anything. I say no. Please look at your sugar levels and glycemic index and your digestive system. Though you may be eating, but that is not normal. So that is an answer. What is the treatment of GERD? Feeling pain in chest part at night. Again, change your diet. As I told you already, I've given you an answer. Just have simple cooked vegetables, nirkai, in the night with minimum some or chapati or fresh dosa solvanga, pulikkiyama dosa, ragi dosa, kambu dosa, and the madri panni saaptungo. That is one of the best for gut. What we are not receiving? Okay, fine. Few simple diets for breakfast. Few simple for diets for breakfast. Again, if you are a South Indian, idli pulchified overnight, not for 10 days, but at least 1 day old only. Don't keep in fridge for a number of days. Try to finish the batter in a day or two maximum. Put vendayam so that it reduces the ill effect of the fermentation. So I think that is good. Idli, dosa, sambar. If you have acidity, then have moong dal sambar instead of tuar dal sambar. You should look. Lot of people are eating lot of these days. Being South Indian, we use a lot of all these bread, cheese. This, please don't take. That's not going to solve your problem. Eat your regular puttu. If you are a Malayali, eat kind of idiyappam with coconut milk. Absolutely fine. Appam with coconut milk and cherupur kanji or all these moong dal things. Please do that in breakfast. I think, see, my answer, as I told you, traditional food, which is followed by your ancestors, local in nature, seasonal in nature. It will reduce those issues. So there's a very kind of your very technical question from sir. Please explain Asti Dhatu Poshana in Prameha as Medo Dhatu Dushti. So I think this will require a longer answer from me because Asti, so Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Meda, Asti. So if the Meda Dushti happen, so if the Medas Dhatu or your fat metabolism get impaired, the next Dhatu according to Ayurveda is Asti. So as a complication, if your previous dhatu or tissue is impacted, the next dhatu then gets impacted. That is asti dhatu. So that happens in the progression of the disease. So that's why, diabetics are more prone to rheumatological disorder, which is musculoskeletal nature or osteoarthritis or many other diseases like bone density issues and all. So they are more prone to fracture, osteoporosis and all those things. So this is a natural complication, both from allopathic perspective you can understand and from an Ayurvedic perspective. How about coffee and tea? I feel that both of them are unknown to Indian gene. Chukku coffee is the best. If at all you want to indulge, see which is the best evil or less evil, not best evil, less evil. Please touch upon fasting and when and how. Intermittent fasting and time restricted feeding is a part of our regular diet. Stop eating after sunset and start eating around 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. Automatically you fast, 4 days out of 7 days you are kind of fasting, because you are fasting almost 14 to 16 hours. So it's not that you have to not eat for 6 days a week, but you have to stop eating after 6:37, and the dinner should be the lightest meal. That will give you the best long life, best digestion. GERD is a very common thing. I feel that, please, my humble suggestion, if you have some take-home message from my interaction today, is eat. Tiffin is not light. Please don't say tiffin is light and have in dinner. Have your vegetarian food, no milk products in night, no protein. Even dal don't eat. Sambar, coconut chutney, all these things are complex food in the night. Please don't eat those things. Just light food with lot of vegetable soups, and maybe fresh dosas, which is not fermented. By cooking, the bacteria will be lost. Yes, bacteria will be lost, but I'm not talking about, see, more you don't cook, more you still eat raw, drink raw. So more will give you bacteria, but then when you cook, still the essential nutrients which will prebiotic. So today, all of us are getting fooled by so-called probiotic pill. You'll be surprised to know that your stomach pH is 4. And at 4 pH of stomach, any probiotic pill you are eating, all things get, burned in that acid which is produced in your stomach. Whatever you take as a probiotic pill, whether it is 1 lakh rupees a pill or 1 rupee a pill, all are not effective. So it's a mere marketing gimmick. I'm sorry to say that. But what works is your spice. So all this chukku, kotamari, all this has certain chemicals which interacts with your juices. And then that's why I showed you last slide. So when these herbs and spice interacts with your digestive system, these good bacteria are there in your stomach, but then they grow to a limit what will improve your GERD. It will improve your acidity. The problem is we are not taking the right food at right time and support the good bacteria. Sir, you said that Medodrishti of mother may cause prameha to offsprings. Elaborate. Yes. So, as I told you, even from modern genetics perspective, that diabetes is a type 2 diabetes is a maternal inherited disorder. You can go online just now and you search diabetes maternal inheritance. You will see, because one of the most important dhatu which is associated is Medo. Medas Dushti is one of the main perspective of Prameha. So it can happen. Yes. If mother has a Medo Dushti, you can inherit diseases to your offspring. Yes. Yeah, I think I've answered most of the questions.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Somit. It was such a different and unique presentation on food and seasonality and timings and all of which have impact our gut. If there are no more questions, I think it's in everyone's interest that we will organize one more interaction with you, Dr. Somit. It's an
Oh,
amazing.
I have to first give pranams to my teacher,
Yeah.
Veru Gopalan sir.
I know there are, in the age of traditional medicine, there are so many hidden teachers who we never come to know of, So it's so nice of you to do that. Uh, may I request Dr. Ayyappan, Medical Director Kaveri, to propose a vote of thanks, please?
Sure, sir. So, so for thank you, Dr. Sumit. It's really an eye-opener. Fantastic talk about this microbiomes. I'm very much interested. So, I think all these antibiotics which people are currently giving, they all kill these many of these good bacteria in the microbiome, and that affects the general health as such. So you highlighted the importance, and it's good to know that many of the good things are already in our traditional diet. So if you follow those advices, like what you said, I think that's a great way to good health. And thanks to Jaishankar sir for putting all these things together, and thanks to Secretary General from MCCI, Ms. Saraswati, for helping us with this. Thanks to the entire team, and thanks to all the listeners. We were initially wondering if we are not sure about the interest with Ayurveda and alternative medicine, but this is really a great thing. I think they all must work together for greater health. Thank you all.
Saraswati.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks, everyone. Thanks, as Mr. P.V. Jaishankar and Dr. Ayyappan said. We would come back to you, Dr. Sumit, for a more elaborate session. That's for sure. Thanks a lot for the brilliant presentation. Thank you. Good day to everybody.
Thank you.